your brush, we need to remove the piece of plastic that comes on it, and don't attempt to put that back on again. That needs to be thrown away. In trying to put it back on after you've prepped the brush, you're more likely to damage the hair. So, all brushes come solid. They're encased in resin to protect them during transit. We must remove that before we put it into liquid. So, to do that, we're going to very gently bend the brush. Do it gently so that you don't damage the hair. And then we need to very gently run the brush through our fingers until all of the dust that you can see flying off has gone. All of that dust is resin, and can you see it's nice, it's deep right into that brush. Depending on the size of your brush will depend how long this will take. Do this prior to needing to use the brush. Do not have a client waiting to come in and you suddenly need to sit and prep your brush, because this could take 15 to 20 minutes. If you don't ensure all of the resin is removed, as soon as you push this brush into liquid, it's going to be ruined and it will split. I see a lot of people posting pictures of their new brush that they've maybe prepped very briefly. They've put it straight into liquid and they can't figure out why it's split. The reason it's split is because you haven't removed all the resin. So you keep going. Can you see how much is all over my hands? Make sure you put your gloves on when you're doing this, and you keep going. Do this well in advance of needing to use the brush. With a new brush, don't worry if there are some hairs that do come out. That is quite likely with a brand new brush. Also, if you find that there's hairs that are stood out slightly, give it a little while and just allow it to settle. If you have one that's curling out very slightly at the top, take your cuticle scissors very close to the ferrule and cut it off. There is the odd chance that the odd brush in any pure Kolinsky brush could be in upside down, and it's not going to be any good to you, but please make sure you don't pull it out. Cut it off, don't pull it out, and only cut the odd one or two, don't cut lots. Once you've removed all the resin, so the brush is now clean and clear and has yet not been near any liquid, we then need a clean dapping dish with the monomer of the brand you use. Just give it a little wipe before we put it in to make sure there's nothing left there at all. Then we're very gently going to place it into clean monomer. And we're going to gently press on the bottom so that any air bubbles that we might have whipped into it are going to come out. Wipe it and then put it back to its point. And then we're going to do it again. What you don't want is trapped air in your brush, because that's going to get into your acrylic. Very gently roll it, just to make sure we're putting it back to the point we need it to. Keep an eye for any stray hairs. If there are any, then we need to remove them. Don't press too hard on the bottom of the dappen dish, because what we don't want to do is to damage the hair. And this monomer will be disposed of, just in case there was anything in the brush. There shouldn't be. We're going to move this out of the way because it's got monomer on it and we don't want to put our almond in. So then you can see the shape of your brush. Just going to give another little dip and point. You can see the shape of your brush and it's in a nice point and not split. That's because we've removed all of the resin. The resin is there just to keep the brush's shape during transit and storage. We need to make sure it's all gone before we attempt to use it and put it into any liquid. Always make sure that your brush is slightly damp. Don't ever dry it out and put it away, because if you have got any acrylic stuck in it and you dry it out, it will cure and you will unlikely be able to remove it. So for storage purposes, we always need to have a brush with a lid so that we can very gently, so that we don't damage the hair, put the lid on and store it brush head down. Always keep it stored with the brush down, never lie down, and certainly never the other way. We need to leave a little bit of monomer in the brush so that we can ensure that if there is any traces of acrylic left in there, they are going to be able to be removed. If you dry it out, if you store it this way, so brush up or laid down, any monomer left in it could creep in and dissolve the glue, and then your brush will be contaminated. So be very careful, make sure you're buying a good brush, pure Kolinsky only, and it must always have a lid, because otherwise you can't store it brush head down unless you stick it to something with blue tack. When you're cleaning your brush, keep cleaning during your application so that we can make sure that there is going to be no buildup of acrylic in your brush at the end of your application. And make sure you clean it in clean, fresh monomer at the end of every service. Do not use brush cleaner and do not use acetone. Brush cleaner and acetone will only dry out the natural hair. This will shorten the life of your brush greatly.